going on, everybody? Farley here, and tonight I want to talk about something I really haven't talked about in a while, and that's my Laserdisc collection. And basically what I want to do is just show off my 10 favorite Laserdiscs in my collection. And the first 7 of these aren't really in any kind of order. They're kind of interchangeable. But when you get to the top 3, that's where the top 3 kind of stand out from the others. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm a big fan of John Carpenter. I'm a big fan of Kurt Russell. I'm a big fan of horror. You stick them all 3 together in a movie and you have a classic. This is The Thing. This is based on a novel or short story, Who Goes There? And yeah, man, just really, I've always dug this movie. I can remember when I was a kid staying up late if I knew that it was coming on. Because back in the 80s, a lot of these kind of movies, they would not put on until after like 9 o'clock. So I'd have to wait up and watch that. So The Thing, 1985, Kurt Russell, great film, horror. So next we have a German film, Das Boot, the story of a submarine crew in World War II. And this is just a fantastic movie. There's actually not a lot of like physical action. It's mostly based on suspense and kind of, being under the ocean, not knowing kind of what's coming for you at the top, and having to kind of wait out, being attacked with like death charges. It's just great, man. The camaraderie of the men on the boat. Just a really fine movie, and just one of my absolute favorites. Probably my favorite foreign film of all time. Right up there with Troll Hunter. Alright, next we have Apocalypse Now. Just another one of those war films, but it takes war films to just another level in terms of, well, first off, it's based on Joseph Conrad's novel, The Heart of Darkness. So there's a lot of parallels between the book. Of course, it's loosely based, but there's a lot of parallels between the book and the movie. But just the study of, how far war can push someone. And are they really insane? Or are they just a product of their environment? The war. And anyway, just a great film. Next, we have sci-fi horror. The movie that started it all, Alien. Just a wonderful movie. And what's funny about this is I kind of watch it now, and it's, I can kind of see some of the more cheesier aspects of the special effects that when you're a kid you don't really know. But I can tell you, when the alien bursts out of the chest in the movie, it scared the bejeebus out of me when I was a kid. So I love just about all the Alien movies. Resurrection was okay. There's talk of another one, so we'll see. But yeah, just a wonderful film. Next, we have a Western, one of 2 Westerns that made this, newer Westerns. We have Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman in Unforgiven. It took me a while to watch this movie. I don't know why originally. I just thought it was going to be, I don't know, at the time, I don't know if I thought it was going to be silly or what. But, man, was I wrong. Since the first time I watched this, really love this movie. I missed Gene Hackman as an actor. Just one of my absolute favorites. Of course, Clint Eastwood, he's not acting as much as he used to. He's directing more now. But his, really all 3 of the main actors, 4, really, Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman, Richard Harris, all did outstanding job in this film. So, Unforgiven. Next, we have a movie that I watched maybe 30 times in high school. Just Dead Poet Society. I just thought this movie was the cat's pajamas in high school, and I would watch this like all the time. This and Lord of the Flies. Lord of the Flies is another one of those films that I'd like to get on Laserdisc. But Dead Poet Society. Love Robin Williams. I've always been a huge fan of Robin Williams, and I actually dig him a lot more in some of his more serious roles, like Patch Adams and that kind of stuff. It kind of gets on my nerves after a while. But when he does movies like this, where he's got scenes where he's funny, but he's also can be serious. I really like that, and so I really enjoy the films where you get to see kind of a different side of Robin Williams. So Dead Poet Society. All right. So next we have a Civil War film that me and my dad would try to watch together a lot. It was one of his favorite movies. It's one of my favorites. It's Glory, about the Civil War, the Northern Army deciding to use some of the runaway slaves and free slaves to form their own army unit and fight. And really their struggle just for, even within their own army, respect, They thought, oh, they're just going to send us out to do manual labor, and they did it first. But Robert Gould Shaw, played by Matthew Broderick, made sure they got and make sure they did their part, and they had a huge sacrifice. Of course, this is based on a true story. So, what can you say, man? So many good performances in here besides Matthew Broderick. You have Carrie Elways and Morgan Freeman. Boy, I really pick a lot of movies with Morgan Freeman. I wonder why. Possibly because he's another one of my absolute favorite actors. And if you can guess this up-and-coming actor when this came out. See if you can see that. Can you name him? I think he had a pretty good career. What do you think? All right, now we're down to the big three. We are down to my top three Laserdiscs. Coming in at number 3. A lot of you are going to think this is silly. I don't care. I absolutely love this guy. I love this character. His first 2 movies, the first one was awesome. That's the one I'm going to show. The second one was okay, and then recently Netflix put out a third, and it was absolute trash. But you cannot escape Pee-wee's Big Adventure. The Search for His Bike. This is one of those movies that's kind of like another movie I'm going to mention in a minute, where I can about quote you the whole movie, and it's just absolutely great. My favorite scene is the Alamo, when he goes to the Alamo. This movie still makes me laugh to this day. I love Pee Wee Herman. Big Top Pee Wee, I might, pick up. Like I say, it wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't as horrible as the Netflix one that came out like maybe 2 years ago. So many great one-liners in there, and it's just silly fun. Next, we have one of the first movies I can remember seeing in a movie theater that opened up where I live. And there was like only 3 people in there when I went, and I was a kid, so I lived down the street and I could actually walk to the theater. Big Trouble in Little China. Hey, it's Kurt Russell again. Yeah. What can you say about this movie other than it's just awesomeness from first to last? Another movie with a bunch of great one-liners. Kurt Russell's character in here is absolutely awesome. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. This is just like a cult classic, and it's just one of those films that I think a lot of us that were born in the 80s kind of grew up on and remember, and I don't know, it just holds a special place. A lot of memories when I think of this movie. And finally, I mentioned earlier that Pee-wee's Big Adventure was one of those films where I could probably quote almost the whole film. This next film, besides being the second Western in the list, is one that I can quote from beginning to end. Tombstone, the greatest film of all time, the greatest acting performance of all time. Val Kilmer is Doc Holliday, who was born in Georgia, by the way. Migrated west because of his tuberculosis. Yeah, man. Tombstone. Fantastic film. I don't think I need to say. I think most of us are familiar with a lot of the one-liners in here, and just what really, I think what really makes it at the heart of this, it's a family and friend kind of film. You know, you've got Wyatt Earp's brothers. It's kind of a story about brotherhood, sticking together, but also friendship, especially two people on kind of opposite ends, you know, of the legal spectrum. You've got Wyatt Earp, you know, former law enforcement, and then you've got Doc Holliday, who's been known to, you know, cheat and steal, but they're friends and they have each other's back all the way to the end. And the scene at the end, towards the end, with Doc Holliday dying, it's just, it tears me up. I ain't gonna lie. So anyway, Tombstone, greatest film of all time, and my favorite film for sure that I have on Laserdisc. All right, that's all I got. I appreciate you watching, and take care, and I'll be back soon with another video. Farley out.